table as well. I'll just take all of him. Thanks, Philippa. That's great. Yeah, he's fine like that. Let's put him on a diagonal. How about that? Let's leave him on a diagonal. Ah. But I'm going to be all over the place. Well, it depends. I don't see how it helps depending on where I am. I'm bringing this leg up to the side. Oh, no, no, no. I'm not bringing that leg up to the side. Let's move him. Because you can see, if we look at the skeleton, boy, is he organised to turn his head to the right. Yeah? Heels are going to the left. Pelvis is going to the left. He's longer on the left side. Yeah? Everything is... The only thing that he hasn't got, but that's because he's got a big in the middle, is he can't get his sternum to point to his weight-bearing leg yet. His weight-bearing leg. Yeah? Because of the strut. The bottom of your sternum towards your weight-bearing leg. Here. If I'm on my side and my head is turned to the right and this is long, this is my weight-bearing leg. Huh? This is the leg that I'm going to lighten. Huh? That I'm organising because I've got more length there, so it's easier to shift the weight there to lighten what we're doing. It was really interesting. I wish you'd heard my conversation this morning with the guy that I'll tell you about. And I'm going, oh, I hate templates. I hate it when I have to teach templates. You know, how to bring the leg up to the side and how to do this. It's not how I work. And she goes, well, what do you do? You know, and it's what I always do. I have a big picture all the time. It's always, is the headlight? Can I get the headlight? Can I get it free? Is the pelvis free? Is everything connected? Is, you know, and then once I get all those fundamentals, then I can begin to take someone wherever I want them to, because they've got the fundamental principles that are going to allow that to happen. No, I didn't. No, not in terms of what we'll often call an FI template. Yeah. So, and again, it's just different ways, you know, we're still in this real process, I think, in the Feldenkrais community. I think Feldenkrais really struggled. How do you teach FI? And I think so much of it is about knowing what questions to ask. Do you know what I mean? Finding something that's leading your interest to take you somewhere. So we've been organising so far with making everything, our question so far is how can we make everything congruent, ideally with turning the head that way. And yet you all know, because you'll have done these ATMs, that in the end we can leave the head one way and we can bring either leg up to the side, can't we? You all remember those ATMs? We might start with one side, but in the end, we want this to get so free through here that the head, it doesn't matter. But for many of us, this isn't free through here, so we have to use our head to sort of take it somewhere, if that makes sense. So he's really organised. I really wanted to do the other side because he's got his broken hand, really. But if we think about that, where we're going with him. So we know that if we get that longer, and that's just one organisation, as I said, so don't get stuck in that that's what's always going to happen. Because I can just as easily have my head turned this way and shorten on this side and bring my arm and leg together. What we're doing, though, and this is very neurodevelopmental, what babies really need to learn very early on is they can get long on the weight-bearing side. They can get long on the weight-bearing side. Yeah. No, in prone, yeah, to have my head turned in prone, because it's such a constraining position, Helen, that the only way I can really get comfortable, because if I take the weight this side, just try it yourselves. If you're standing and you bring your weight to the right leg, but you've got a wall in front of you, how easy is it? You need to move away from the wall. It's much easier if I do that, because I've got this flat surface in front of me that I can't move toward. I've got to organise myself to be moving backwards away from the table. No, I can't move. I'm not going to be showing someone about moving forwards if I'm in prone. This is about how do I organise to take myself backwards. Okay, so then we know that as you've been doing all this, and that some of you will be feeling, oh, these ribs are stuck, or these ribs, something's not soft on the floor. So what do we do that helps that? So if I'm standing, so if you're all standing fairly tall, and you wanted your ribs to soften a little bit, one side to get shorter and longer, this must move. This has to move to get your ribs shorter and longer. There's a lot of people who can't do this. But to start from the midline, which is requiring in a way more organisation, that you take their head and nothing shifts. They just, you've got them in sitting and you turn their head and everything just stays in one place. So what do we do to encourage it? We take the head further to the side and then bend and feel, for many people, how many more ribs can begin to be involved in the movement, because you've just given them a curve where things are already starting. Yeah, but we're more interested in what's happening in the middle at the moment, Sylvia, but it's the same idea. So you can see with Sylvia what she understands. Go on, do it. She knows how to bend this, but this doesn't shorten. That's why she's bending a knee, because she doesn't really yet understand that that could get. Not only would that bend, but it would lift. Because once she can do that and this goes down and this lifts, she doesn't have to shift the weight very much. So both sides are being able to come together. Yeah, can you feel that difference? But generally, when people don't have a lot of movement through their torso, which is a lot of the people we're going to see, I can guarantee you, you often have to put them into positions where it's going to be easier for some of this to start happening. And that's what we were doing yesterday with the translation of the head. Because all we're really doing, so it's not about just translating the head, we're looking at, can we begin to shift this area to find a place where something becomes more available to move. So we were looking at where could this go, where the pelvis starts to get more mobile, where the person understands more about that there can be a connection through. And that's what I'm always looking for at the beginning of FI. Are the possibilities there? Yeah? Are they in a place where something is possible, that they're not stuck? So we can see he's organised to turn this way. This is longer, this is shorter. Both of his heels are already going this way. Yeah? The main thing he hasn't got, and this is because of where his sternum is that this shoulder's down and this one's really coming up. Huh? So if you put your fingers on the bottom of your sternum, and we'll work more with this as we go on, if you put your fingers on the bottom of your sternum and you wanted to stand on your right leg, feel if the bottom of the sternum can point to the hip that you're weight bearing on. How does that organise your standing? It's going to point to the hip you're weight bearing on. Sternum is going to point to the leg you're going to weight bear on. Now, for some of you, this might feel really weird. No? Very solid. Huh? But we'll go into that a little bit further on. But that's why he's having trouble, because he can't. He's got a bit of movement, but this is fixed through here, so he can't get that over toward that hip. Because see, if we start to get that, there's the shoulders organised, getting more organised. Huh? But I'd have to hold him there to do that. But we'll get to the middle later. Okay? But it's just really good for you to feel when you stand, how free is this movement through the middle on you? Huh? This ability for this to be really soft and mobile. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we've got someone on their side, and I'm just going to turn him to the other side now, which is not where he wants to go, but we're going to do that just so you can see that he's still short this side. Huh? That's going to be lots of you. And what that will tend to do if he's still short this side is I'll be turned this way, but I'll often be weight bearing on this hip. Because there's a scoliosis happening. Yeah? There's something happening through the middle of the person that they've learned that if I'm looking with my right eye, everything doesn't go there, it sort of goes there. Yeah. And for most of us, remember, the scoliosis is functional. There's very few people that scoliosis is structural. There are people, but even those who, they get the x-ray and, I've got this scoliosis. But you lie them down and they haven't got a scoliosis. So as soon as the weight's taken off it, it disappears. But I've got a scoliosis, but big deal. It's how you organise within your structure that's much more important. So we can see with him. So that pelvis isn't that free at the moment. So I'm deliberately making this a little bit difficult for him. Yeah? And we know that if his head's to this side, we would really like the pelvis to have mobility and hopefully more in that direction. Everyone following me so far? So here we go with his head through here. Where can I take him? So is it back here for him? No. For some people it will be, believe me. Yeah? that for him shifts him even more onto that side. So we bring him, and if I take him there and if I went to lift his head, there's nothing much in his neck. It's all gone down to his low back to do the work. But take him back where he was, which is a little bit more neutral. Look how much more of his spine can come in. And he hasn't even got a brain. If I take him over here, look at that pelvis starting to adapt. Look how much of his spine he can start to organise now. So it's really just, what are these fundamentals that I'm looking for? Where do I want the head to be that will most easily allow? You do it, Philippa, you'll feel it. No, does someone want to do it? You'll feel it. The skeleton's wonderful for this. Go on, Doris. So if he's there, so get him in neutral and then just really gently lift his head and feel how much. Yeah? Now lift it back this way and you can see the pelvis is rolled the other way. Yeah? And it's all here now. Yeah? Because we want to get his head light. We don't want heavy heads. I was just resting it there, Philippa. Wasn't doing anything, honestly. He's a skeleton. No, I wasn't doing anything, honestly. Okay, so we know for him that he's going to be a little bit better over here. Because now, and you can already see from getting him here, this has started. So this head-pelvic relationship, again, another fundamental. We're always looking that they know each other. And once they know each other, then the head can do whatever it likes. But they must know each other first. So then we've been doing it. We've been doing all those movements of the knees, the heels, coming through the pelvis to get this to get longer. There's his head starting to come down. And we're getting more and more weight on this side. So our brain interprets that as, oh, I'm weight bearing. I'm weight bearing. I don't have to be in standing to interpret weight bearing. I don't all of a sudden learn it once I come up to standing. This is weight bearing to the brain. So then, if we wanted to start to bring the leg up, and I think you did this with Jeff last segment. But you still brought the leg up. And what were you doing? What was important? No, not lifting the leg. You brought the leg up to the side. That's what I read anyway. Yeah. Yeah? So this is in prone now. So we're in a different position. So what was really important to get? Spiral in the hip joint. So we're really looking at, I want to bring his leg up to the side. So he's already still organised out, isn't he? Yeah, for him. So what could I do to begin to organise this to? We've already done this. We've done this. And his heel is following because he's a clever skeleton. Yeah. Because we've got the head and pelvis in a position. So let me just show you again. If I put him back here. Not ready to go. Because the head, pelvis, Relationship is fundamental. Huh? So now all of a sudden, this isn't ready to go. There we go. Yeah? I could just do that with him. Yeah? So they're the things you're looking for. How is it ready to go? If it's not, if it's still not really clear, if it's not, those bits aren't ready to go when I move the pelvis, do you know what I mean? They could be clearer. Then I'm probably going to have to come back and clarify something. Huh? So then I'd be coming back and I can feel here it doesn't happen. What about if I bend his knee a little bit? That might make it easier for him to feel. So, and do I want to bring him up there? Would that make sense with the movement I'm doing? Because what's that going to do? Extend his back, most likely. So he's got to find that his heel can get longer. All of these extensors are going to get longer to allow that leg to come up. Yeah. So you can feel on yourselves if you're lying there and you arch your back and you go to bring the leg up, what does your foot do? It drops. The toes will drop. And it's not going to be easy to bring your leg up, is it? But what happens if you allow the back to get long and there's your standing foot coming up? Yeah? So you know you want to get this a little bit longer to give the release in the back. And again, with the person, you're just going to have to play around a lot with what you're looking for. But if you know what you're looking for, then you can go in and try different variations, but then you come back and go, has it got easier? So you can see that what's had to happen in the hip, and that again, we've brought the leg up because what we're trying to get is that with this lesson. We're not trying to get that. So everything we're doing is about, this is the weight-bearing side. How can we show it that it can get longer? How can it give up any of its habitual shortening? Yeah? I'm going to look at that with the rotation. So when I'm actually rotating, but usually, honestly, the head, that's where we're really heading. Getting more and more of this on the ground. And generally, for most of us, the more we open it up, the more contact we'll get with the ground so it can settle into the ground. Yeah? As we get better organised, I could, as I said, once I get it, I could bring my leg up that way, but I know now how all of this can still touch the ground, but be in the opposite curve. But for most people, that's another level of skill, if you like, or yeah. So we're sort of making it easy. If we can make it longer for them, generally that's going to allow more of them to settle into the ground. Yeah. So we've got that up. Then, and again, he's already adapted up here. You've got to really watch with your client because this is a template. Do you know what I mean? This is we'll do this with the leg first. The person you're working with, you might have to start up here. But where we're doing it is starting at the leg and going up. Yeah? But that doesn't mean there still might not be something you need to do with where their arms are. No?
On that side.
He can. He is. This is his problem, as I said. It's this through here is his problem. So now you can come in, and if we've really got it, you know, I could begin to lighten his leg, which is what we were doing in that ATM. Yeah? And that is going to encourage him to lengthen more. Huh? So I could lighten his leg. You've got to, so at the moment we're not doing both. Huh? Let's just see if we can, but you've got to, you're really watching that when you do that, that you're not lengthening this side. Yeah? So you've got that little bit of rotation, but the knee would be coming higher. Yeah, and I'm thinking of this getting longer. Huh? So I'm thinking of that, and then maybe this gets light as well. And I've got, and see how much now I can roll him over that underneath hip. So that's really organising then, that when he's in standing, he could have his pelvis here or here or here. Yeah, he's got all these places that he can be on that weight-bearing hip. Yeah, I think that's enough to start with. Huh? He'll be differently organised now. Just realise that. He's learnt something. No, he's learnt something, honestly. Even bones learn. No, I was just lifting his head. No. I wasn't doing anything here. I was just going, is this light? And what parts are ready to be involved? I wasn't making anything be involved. No, I did all of that before I lifted his head. Yeah? I found where his pelvis was most free before I lifted his head. Okay, someone lie on the table. Can someone lie on the table? Oh! There wouldn't be much room, that's all, Jane. It would be on your tummy, Jane. So yes, it's my organisation in lifting that is absolutely fundamental, if that's what you're asking. Yeah? So we're here again. So Jane, we'll have someone who can turn their head to the side. Okay, do you want to, is that? No, it's okay. But no, let's demonstrate it on someone who can do it a little bit more easily. Just so I can do it quickly and easily, that's all, Jane. So again, look what we've got. Heels, pelvis, maybe not quite as clear up through here, but, you know, pretty good. No? Have you ever taught an ATM to 200 people and let them do their head any way they like?
Well, no, but I would have thought that I have actually heard Moshe say that those people doing it the other way will just have to invert all instructions themselves.
He's already set it up by the previous ATMs he's done.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay, that's why.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Would be also what I would say.
That's even on.
Yeah, which is an interesting theory, isn't it? You're getting caught again. Jane, can you see it? There goes the thinking, trying. to work it out. So again, and it's interesting because I do this and not a lot happens through here. There's no weight shifting up there. So it's going to be really good for her. We really do need to shift her head because it's not in a place at the moment. So that moves. And I'm just going to yeah, this isn't ready to move at all. And I'm just really lightly here around the upper back and just going, can you shift your weight? No way. Yeah, just a little. It's really light, isn't it? Yeah? It's not going to move. It's just not ready to do anything. I need to get myself used better now. Yeah. Huh? So we'll just see if in her reorganisation, it's already better. Huh? Because you can see this is already a bit more asymmetrical, whereas before she was much more symmetrical. Huh? So again, that's what I was saying. For some people, you might want to position their arms in different ways to make this easier. But if I go back to a pelvis, gets through, but still there's a fair amount of heaviness here. Yeah? Okay. So when I'm lifting her head now, this is not about lifting her head because she can't do it at the moment. This is too... So if you lift your head at the moment, she has to push. Huh? So I would have to have the most, and Jeff's self-use is superb, I would have to have the most superb self-use. I would have to sit here. Okay, she's going to brace there. She's not going to use that. I really have to soften this. This has to be there. That's easier. Honestly, it's a great way to do an FI, but often I know that even my self-use isn't going to get it through. And I think Russell Delman taught me that the most because she's primed. You're primed. Do you know what I mean? If I give the right organisation and the right touch, it'll go through her. But honestly, most of the clients I get on my table, wouldn't matter how well organised I was, it wouldn't necessarily go through. So I've got to step back, do you know what I mean, and go, well, what would make it easier? And Russell Delman taught me that because he always used to say, I'll try my self-use first, and then if that doesn't work, I've got to do a bit of work. I have to think a bit more. And that was really valuable advice to get. So you always, coming back to your self-use, always, but also know there's many other ways we can come in because, you know, I've been doing this 30 years. Often, if you're putting that much attention on your self-use all the time, you often don't have any left for the person here. Do you know what I mean? Then it becomes all about you, and our whole work is about this reversibility, that I'm in a place. So maybe I'm not as well organised today and I'm a bit more here, but I can still shift my weight, my head's fairly free. That's maybe where I'm a bit tired. What are the things? So when I'm going in to do this, I'm just going in. Her head is not light, so I'm going to go in just on her sternum, the upper sternum, so I've got her chest. And her head, now there's my self-use. I'm just going to shift her a little bit. So it's not, because her head isn't connected, I'm not doing that. Huh? Because her head's heavy, I have to put it together for her. I've got to show her that no, it's not just your head. It's this and this. Huh? No. Because again, she'll probably do it. Though if you don't feel you've got it, you could hold her and then ask her to take a head if your hands are already there, Anna. Yeah? And we're going to come back. We're more in the ball game now. Yeah? So does that clarify? Okay, thank you. Up you come. So now you've got a choice. It's nearly 12:30. Does one of you want to have a go before lunch till 1 o'clock? Yeah, and then we'll have lunch at 1 and then come back after lunch and swap over? Yeah, okay. So what we're doing, you're getting them in line, but again, you might want to think about maybe looking at something in standing. You're checking where can I get the pelvis free, and then you're organising to bring the leg up to the side. And we're all here to help.